Hello, everybody, and welcome back to FigFed News, the May 21st, 2024 edition of your fake figure wrestling news. Now, as you can see, there was a typo last week. I ended up losing the Impact brand by mistake. There's also been the new product or new brands added. So let's get started. So right now in wrestling news, huge talks between Chris Candido, Chuck Palumbo is almost a done deal. Tyson Tomko is currently being negotiated. The Highlanders have also shown interest in joining the Ultimate Talent Pool. Trevor Murdoch, Kid Cash, Big E, Johnny Stamboli, and Mark Jindrak. So it'll be interesting to see if they end up showing up in the very near future. Also, Perry Saturn is currently in negotiation, as well as Buff Bagwell. So the draft results are here. So as we said last week, if you're following along, you know that the WWF has now become two brands, the WWE and the WWF roster. With Triple H, Batista, Jason Jordan, Jake and Jesse Gemini, Ludwig Kaiser, Giovanni, and Gunther, along with Charlie Haas, EC3, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, LA Knight, and Simon Dean and Bo Dallas, staying on the WWE roster, or going to the WWE roster, I should say. Then to be joined with Spike Dudley, Jimmy and Jay Uso, Mitch, Mikey, Johnny, Kenny Dykstra, Booker T, The Fiend, Matt Morgan, Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder, Jinder Mahal, Matt Riddle, and Joey Mercury to round out the 30 on that brand. The WWF, however, would keep Psycho Sid, Bret Hart, Roddy Piper, Val Venus, Shawn Michaels, Superstar Billy Graham, Mankind, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rico, Gangrel, Razor Ramon, Steve Blackman, Iron Sheik, Owen Hart, Ahmed Johnson, who currently is with injury, and they'll be joined with Zeus, Hawk, Animal, Million Dollar Man, IRS, Virgil, King Kong Bundy, as known as Money Incorporated, Honky Tonk Man, Kerry Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich, Bob Backlund, Marty Jannetty, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Big Boss Man, and X-Pac, who also is currently still waiting for him to be cleared to return to wrestle. The championships were as follows for the WWE Cruiserweight, the 24/7, the United States a tag team, any really version of a tag team, but currently the Gemini do hold the WWE tag team titles. Jason Jordan did walk away with the WWE Intercontinental title, so he is still that championship. And Triple H decided to announce himself, as you'll see in the next results here, as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion since he won the King of the Ring. Instead of taking on Sid, he decided to leave and become first ever champion of the WWE roster. WWF will continue to keep the WWF Heavyweight Championship, the Intercontinental, the Tag, the European, the Hardcore, and the Light Heavyweight, which is why Rico is still on the WWF roster as he is the current Light Heavyweight Champion. Match results, though, for the first week, and also kickoff velocity, Spirit Squad would defeat Mercury, Matt Riddle, Spike Dudley, and Bo Dallas by pinfall. The main event would see Matt Morgan defeat Charlie Haas, also by pinfall. Over on SmackDown, as The Fiend defeats Simon Dean in his debut by submission. The Usos versus Ryder and Hawkins ended a double countout. Booker T and the Hardy Boys actually defeated Imperium by pinfall in a huge upset. And Triple H is awarded the WWE World Heavyweight Championship as a result of winning the King of the Ring. This took place right before the main event, which saw Jinder Mahal defeat LA Knight by pinfall. Over to WWF now, as Heat took place, as Money Incorporated versus Owen Hart, Marty Jannetty, Bob Backlund, and Rico ended a double countout. The main event would see the Von Erichs, Kerry and Kevin, defeat LOD by pinfall. Over on Monday Night Raw, you had Razor Ramon defeat Gangrel by pinfall, Stone Cold Steve Austin defeats Mankind by pinfall, and the Big Boss Man defeats Val Venus by pinfall to win the Hardcore Championship. The main event would see Shawn Michaels defeat Superstar Billy Graham by pinfall. WCW held its show this week as Thunder's Nasty Boys defeat Demolition by pinfall, and the main event would see the Fashion Police defeat Singh Brothers by pinfall. Bill Goldberg over on Nitro would defeat Cedric Alexander by pinfall. Ricky Steamboat defeats George Steele by pinfall. William Regal would defeat Junkyard Dog by pinfall. And the main event would see Randy Savage and Dolph Ziggler defeat Sean O'Haire and Drew McIntyre by pinfall. ECW kicked off its show this week with Scott Steiner defeating Rick Martel by submission. Lex Luger would defeat Hillbilly Jim by submission. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods would defeat the Bashams by pinfall. And the Undisputed Era defeats Adam Rose, Mr. T, Akira Tozawa, and Matt Striker by pinfall. The main event would see the British Bulldog defeat Finn Balor, also by pinfall. However, there's a pay-per-view this week for AEW, the Battle of the Belts, as Lucha Bros, well, first the buy-in match, Miro would defeat Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara by pinfall. Lucha Bros would defeat the Young Bucks by pinfall. Pac defeats Ricky Starks to become the first TBS champion. The belt was originally for the women, but however, I've decided to use it for the male. Dustin Rhodes defeats Hook by pinfall to retain his FTW championship. Samoa Joe also retained his title against Jungle Boy by submission. FTR also retained their belts by defeating the Acclaim by pinfall. Wardlow defeats Killswitch to retain his TNT championship. The Best Friends defeated House of Black by pinfall to retain their Trios championship. And Kenny Omega defeats MJF by pinfall to retain his championship. So no new champions other than Pac, who became the first TBS champion. Over on NXT, Dusty Rhodes defeated MVP by pinfall. Rick Steiner defeats Samu by pinfall. Retribution defeats MSK by pinfall. Big E has vacated the North American Championship and left NXT. He may end up possibly signing with the Ultimate Brand. Stay tuned for that. And in a battle royal, since Carmelo Hayes was stripped of the 24/7 championship as it was sent over to the roster, a 10-man battle took place with all the new signees plus Carmelo Hayes, and Dominic Mysterio would end up winning the NXT North American Championship, last eliminating Carmelo Hayes in the top rope elimination. And in the main event, R-Truth would defeat Chief Jay Strongbow by pinfall. Ring of Honor also had a small show this week as Butcher and Blade defeats Eddie Kingston and Ultimo Dragon by pinfall. Shawn Spears defeats John Silver by pinfall. And the main event would see Brody Lee defeat Powerhouse Hobbs by pinfall. The IWGP also had a champion announced or leaving as Noam Dar and Trevor Murdoch ended a double countout. Mark Jindrak would come out and announce that Luther Reigns has vacated the IWGP US title and left IWGP. So Psychosis would defeat Chris Kanyon in the next match by pinfall. Sean Stasiak would defeat Shannon Moore by pinfall. It was announced then that Bill DeMott and Jerry Lynn were announced for the IWGP United States Championship match in the main event, which Jerry Lynn would go on to defeat Bill DeMott to win the IWGP United States Championship. Impact and Red Impact are being changed, however, due to a high level of wrestlers leaving, with Wade Barrett, Ezekiel Jackson, and a number of other superstars also on the outs. The companies will stay around, but they are being rebranded with basically the Impact brand belt stay on one side, the Red Impact stay on the other side, and a split equal roster to be announced in the coming week. So there was no show for either of these. They took the week off. UWF also had no show. There was no show over at XNA, or XTNA, I should say. NWA also had no show this week, nor did AAA, nor did Ring of Honor, nor did World Wrestling Council still, or GCW. That's all for this week. Check back again next week for more results as we lead towards the next pay-per-view, including the first WWE pay-per-view, starting with that new roster, where it has been announced that Triple H will defend his title against Batista, who is the #1 contender in the main event of their respective pay-per-view. Until next time.